Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the biggest reasons that people actually quit selling feet pictures. Now, this is just a generic topic, I guess. Like, a lot of people are going to come into this and they're going to quit. A lot of people are going to try it and they're going to quit. But there is a lot of reasons as to why people quit doing this. And let me run you through some of the reasons that I personally believe would be the reasons some people might quit. Also, in a way, sometimes where I've even questioned it myself, because obviously your girl goes through this at times. Sometimes I'm like, do I really want to be doing this? And then yeah, just like kind of things just snowball onwards until I just like get back to normal and I'm like, you know what? No, I want to stay doing it. But yeah, let's just talk about it because people quit all the time, and technically it's good that people quit because it means there is more room for newcomers to get involved. There's more room for the newcomers to get sales. So yeah, it's pretty good in a way. But yeah, these are some reasons why people actually quit. Now, the first reason that I think people end up quitting is because of the fact that it just doesn't work, right? That's obviously a reason why some people are going to quit doing it. It doesn't work for them, right? It just doesn't work. Whether it's too much time, not enough money, it just doesn't work for them. It doesn't give them the lifestyle that they want. That's a very common reason why people quit, obviously. Now, not making enough or not making anything is obviously a massive reason people are going to give up, right? That's giving up and quitting, right? Because at that point, you haven't really even started. Now, not making enough, it depends on kind of what you need in life. I don't need a lot of money to live. So when I started this, I essentially was like, £100 a month extra, that is fine for me. It covers my rent to my parents. I don't need money to live. All I need to do is pay my rent to my parents. And then as time's gone on, my budget has got bigger and bigger. I buy myself stuff. I like to go out. I like to drive around. I like to go out and have takeaways. I've got very expensive as time has gone on. Now, obviously, this is quite bad because it means that, like, my monthly budget, I spend so much money, right? Like, I spend so much money. If I was to work a minimum wage job, I would be spending my entire wage the whole month. Whereas I've never been that kind of person. I used to be on £420 a month and I would save, like, basically every single penny of that when I used to work part-time. Whereas now, I cannot believe how much I spend. It's actually crazy. But yeah, people don't make enough and they end up quitting because of that, right? That's quite a normal thing as well. It doesn't just give them the life that they want. I also think that people underestimate how much time it takes to be like a full-time feet seller. There's a lot of time involved in this. You know, there is a lot of time in that. Now, essentially, a lot of people expect it to take no time at all. But the more money you want to make, the longer amounts of days you're going to be working, like the longer amount of time per day you're going to be working. You're going to be working harder. You're going to be doing more stuff. You're going to be thinking about it like 24/7. If you're like me, and anyway, then yeah, essentially, it does take up a lot of time. It does take up a lot of time. And I think people underestimate that. They underestimate the amount of time it actually is going to take them, and then when it takes so much time they think, oh my god, I can't do this anymore, it's taking up way too much time of my life. Another reason I think people quit is because they can't be their own boss. Now, there are some people in this world that are really good at being their own boss, and there are some people in this world that just aren't, right? And there are people who need someone above them to tell them to basically get their shit together. They need someone above them to discipline them, to tell them you have to be up at this time and you have to be doing this work at this time and get this done, and then you get to go home and relax. Some people need that in life in order to essentially make money, right? Some people actually need that. Whereas some people, they are hard workers, whether they are their own boss or they're not, you know. And I think it's a personal preference in a way, because like sometimes I struggle to discipline myself. If I go through really, really rough patches and big things happen in my life that kind of gets me down, essentially I can be hard to like pick myself back up again and get myself into a routine. Schedule is really, really hard working from home. Some people love a good schedule and they can just follow a schedule like nothing, whereas for me, I feel like I go a bit insane. So essentially, it's good to have a schedule, but you do have to like force yourself, and it is hard to discipline yourself. And I think that some people just physically don't like that. They can't keep on top of it, and maybe that's the reason they don't make as much money either. Because if you aren't disciplining yourself to work a certain amount and do enough like work to make money, then essentially you're going to be making less money, and then you make less money, and then you might think, this isn't working for me. Another reason I think that people also quit this line of work is the fact it can be like in like stigmatizing, like it's stigma, like there's a stigma around selling feet pictures. You know, people can like be very judgmental of it. I personally don't have this issue. A lot of the time it's more so online people that judge it rather than anyone else. There is a stigma around it. I think sometimes the hate and like the online stigma can get to people and it makes people want to quit. And also it's kind of like you kind of lose lack of socialization because you aren't going out. You don't have to leave your house to work. And obviously, some people are good with not socializing, and other people really love to socialize. I personally love to socialize, but essentially, like, also I don't because I have anxiety and quite a lot of social anxiety. But me myself, like, not the anxious me, would love to be out there and socializing. So I used to like going to work when I used to, like, before my anxiety attacks would be there. But I used to like going to work because I would get to speak to people, I would socialize, I like that part of life. With this, you don't get that. That's not to say you can't socialize though. If you're someone with plenty of friends, this is going to give you more free time to go out and see your friends. You can be free whenever you want to be free, right? If you can work around it, you can discipline yourself and make yourself work around it and still make enough money, you can go out with your friends whenever. If you're someone with not a lot of friends, that could be an issue. But again, you could like go to a club or like do other things, like go to the gym, like different ways of socializing. And yeah, somebody's involved money, but selling feet pictures can make you money, obviously. But yeah, I think those are just some of the reasons that people quit. And like some of these things have actually affected me myself, you know, and I will be open to say that because working from home can be hard. You know, I'm only 20 years old and essentially it can be very like, at 20 years old, you want to be very sociable, you want to be outgoing. I'm not, you know, and I get like that's good in some ways because some people love to do it. Like the money is good, obviously, but you know, at the same time, it's kind of like it can be a bit iffy at times, you know, but I think that's a normal thing, right? I've always said is like even if you had your dream job, majority of people, if you are forced to do something 24/7 and this is your work line or you're just forced to do it, a lot of the time you end up not enjoying it. Right, that is just the way things work. So if you're forcing yourself to do stuff or someone's forcing you to do stuff, you don't end up enjoying it, you know, and it is just that way inclined. But you can go through phases, you know, and that's the reason I like to switch up what I'm doing. Like sometimes I do Twitch streaming, sometimes, you know, I don't work as much. I like to switch up what I do so that if I'm not feeling as great doing something anymore, I just don't do it. I just change my flow and I just start doing something else. But yeah, hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.